people of the Red Giant world. Hope you're well today. Hope you're feeling grand and all is well in your world. Today, I thought I would do a bit of a waffle video about songwriting for Red Giant and try and give some kind of like tips and some kind of like advice on songwriting that hopefully will hopefully help you. I'm always terrified about giving advice to people because I'm always afraid that it's not good enough or it's not right. So I'm probably going to stutter a bit in this video on certain things, but bear with me. So the album that's coming out soon, You Say, I Say, the songs on that were written, they're all... I don't think there's one song on that album that was written from a third-person perspective. And what I mean by third-person perspective is, and I think this is a really cool thing to do for songwriting sometimes, is write about a situation that you're not in. So you have an antagonist or a protagonist. I think that's a really cool thing to do. I've done that quite a few times. I've got a song that's called Out of Here. I don't know if it'll ever come out or anything like that. But it's about Jimi Hendrix and his time in New York City. And that song was inspired by a line I read of his when he was living really rough. And he said, it's really, really depressing when a rat steals your last bit of food. And I was like, oh, that's just resonated with me. And I ended up writing an entire song just off the basis of that quote from Jimi Hendrix. The idea was there's a guy who's trying to make a living, struggling, really, really struggling, and ends up living kind of rough, basically. And all his stuff is constantly getting stolen by rats, and he doesn't have anything. And he knows he's got to get out of there, hence Out of Here. And I think that's a really cool thing to do with songwriting, is you can kind of imagine certain situations and then vocalize them into a song, which is really, really cool. On this album, You Say, I Say, all these songs have a real deep meaning to me because they're all situations that I went through. And I'm sure when the album comes out and you hear some of the songs, people of the tube, and you listen to the lyrics, I'm sure a lot of you have been through these situations as well. And again, that's another thing. Write what you know. Write about what you know. There's a lot of heartache, longing, am I right, am I wrong, that's my phone, going on in this album. There's a lot of that kind of questioning yourself, questioning situations you're in. Was it the right thing, was it the wrong thing, all that kind of thing. There's a lot of that on this album, hence the album name, You Say, I Say. And a lot of these songs were written, I mean, I would say 50-50 split of this album was written ages ago when I was going through another situation very similar to the situation I was going through with the other 50%. And again, writing about what you know, I think is really important because it gets it out of you. And I think it's very therapeutic to do this kind of thing. Also, it gives you perspective that you might lose over the years and stuff like that. It gives you perspective back of certain situations and it gives you closure. And that's what songwriting, I think, should be about. It's a purge, for either situations you've been through, feelings you may have, or imaginary situations, or something you've just got inside that you have to get out, famously, Noel Gallagher says he doesn't understand what Supersonic's written about, but when he plays it to these hundreds of thousands of people, it makes sense to them. And that's exactly it. Where that came from in Noel, where Don't Look Back in Anger, Supersonic, Wonderwall, all these amazing, legendary songs come from in Noel and other songwriters, who knows? But the fact of the matter is, it's a need to express. You have to do it. You are compelled to do it. And songwriting's not easy. It takes time, like anything. Learning to play guitar, learning to play drums, learning to write, paint, draw, whatever. It all takes time, and you have to be able to kind of hone it and kind of understand what you want out of it, full stop, really. With this album, the songs I picked that I'd written for this album, the ones I took to Queenie and John Joe, were ones that really resonate with me. The first single we're going to release next month, really, I wrote that song in 2020. I'll talk more about these songs when they come out. I'll do videos on them all when they come out. But I wrote that song in 2020. The song after that, I wrote in 2020 as well, and it was just certain periods of time. And also certain other songs on the album were written before that through certain life situations. And again, always write what you know, because you're not the only one who's been through it. You know, whether it's relationship breakups, mental health problems, family problems, again, even imaginary stuff. If there's something in your head, you know, there's nothing new under the sun, basically, you know, and it's really important to just express it for whatever it is, you know. And it doesn't have to be the most complex piece of music. It doesn't. You know, it doesn't have to have a million trillion different parts. I remember certain people would, when we were with Dave Simpson Trio, we released a song called Are You Alright? And, which we'll probably release again in the future, maybe, I don't know. But we released that song, and it's about 2.5 minutes long, and some people were saying, why is it so short? Because that's what the song wanted. And this brings me quite neatly, actually, to another point, which is, do what the song wants. A song idea will come to you, and you have to follow it. Do not question it. Just go with it. There was quite a few songs on this new album where I questioned it and thought, this one's too short. We've got a song that's 2 minutes on the dot. And I'm like thinking, oh, we need to add some extra bits and pieces to it, you know, to make it longer. And every time I would try and add a piece to it, the song would be like, what are you doing to me? You're trying to bolt on an extra leg. I've already got 2. I can walk fine. I don't need an extra leg, Dave. And that's the process. The song will tell you. It'll get beamed to you. You'll feel it. You'll know. You'll know what it wants and what it doesn't want. And eventually I was just like, yeah, it is what it is. It's and I always kind of like look at the song and go, well, it says everything I want it to say and it does everything I want it to do within that period of time. So if it comes out as 2 minutes, it comes out as 2 minutes. It reminds me of Rory Gallagher. There was an interview with Rory when he played the first Rock Palast Festival, and he's getting interviewed. And he was saying how when he writes a song and takes it to the band, if it's a blues song, they play it that way. If it's a country song, they play it that way. If it's a rock song, they play it that way. And I think that's the way it should be. And I think that's liberating as a songwriter to just, if you write a song that's a metal track, and then the next song you write is a ballad acoustic thing, it is what it is. That's what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? And the two can live in the same space. They really can. You know, Metallica proved that with Nothing Else Matters. You know, you can write, and Devin Townsend proves that all the time. You can write the most brutal death metal riffs, but still have a gorgeous melodic side in your other songs. You know, you think about some of the Strapping Young Lad stuff that Devin Townsend did compared to like some of the stuff off the Devin Townsend project, like Midnight Sun and you know, even Deadhead. You know, these songs are gorgeous. They're heavy, but they're so melodic and beautiful at the same time. So it can coexist. Don't ever be kind of like, oh, but my last song was really, really heavy and this one just wants to be this like ballady thing. Oh, I don't know about that. Don't question it. Question it, it'll go off and find somebody else. Let it flow. It is what it is. You know, if it comes out that way, you play it that way. If it comes out this way, you do it that way. You know, and don't really want to be deviating from that. Don't try and bolt extra things onto something that doesn't need it. You know, don't try and, like I say, don't try and attach an extra leg that isn't going to do anything. It might just hinder the song in the first place. I always believe that the best songs that you can write are the ones you write in 15 minutes. And most of these songs on this album, I think pretty much all these songs actually, were written well within under an hour. You know, some of them were under 15 minutes. And I'm really, really proud of a lot of these songs. I'm really, really proud of what Queenie and John Joe added to it, because they just made it. And that, again, brings me on to another brings me neatly. He's good at English. Brings me very neatly onto the other project. The other part of this, which is bouncing ideas off other people, but remaining true to the initial idea of the song. And I'll give you an example of this in a second. But if you're in a band and you write a song and you take it to the guys, girls, whatever in your band, and you play it to them, or you show them a demo that you've recorded at home or whatever, and they say, that's really, really cool, but can we do this, that, and the other? Try it. Always be open to try it. Do not be precious with your ideas. You have to know what you want it to do. You have to know what it wanted to say, but you can't be precious with it because you're in a band. If you want to be precious with things, be a solo artist. But if you're in a band, you have to be open to other people's suggestions. Let's try that. Let's try this. And you never know where it might lead. It might just make you go, that's the little bit I was missing. It's perfect. But don't ever lose sight of what you want the song to be. If you're the songwriter, you do have to have, not final say, but you do have to go, this song, if the song's getting away from what you initially wanted it to be, you do have to put your foot down at one point and go, it's no longer saying what I want it to say. So can we kind of get rid of this, do this, that, and the other? You do have to be at that point, be a bit more forthright. But again, you have to be open and you have to bounce things off other people. It's really, really cool to bounce things off other people, even if not in your band. Your partner, your family, your friends, whoever. Just put the song on and say, what do you reckon? And their reaction will tell you. And another part of this is, not everyone's going to like what you write. There's going to be some people who literally hate what you play and what you write musically. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. People don't have to like what you write. They don't have to like your music. And you don't have to go by their opinion. Just because somebody says your songs are the worst in the world that they've ever heard doesn't make it so. It's just their opinion. And it's just not something to be worried about. Not everything can be for everyone. It can't. It's impossible. Everyone's too different. And if you show your song that you're really, really proud of to somebody and they go, I don't like that, but you're proud of it, then that's all that matters. And again, I think that's one of the main things that kind of turns people away from songwriting is fear. The fear of kind of what if nobody likes this? What if they don't? Songwriting, I think by its very nature, is kind of a selfish, in a good way, thing to do. That's why I always say write about what you know, or write about what you're thinking or whatnot. Because, if it's important for you to express it, do it. And if you're compelled to do it, you have to do it. That's how I feel about songwriting. I have all these songs that come to me and all these ideas that I have. I have to get them out. It's the same on my other YouTube channel. When I play a guitar or something like that, there's things inside me that I have to just get out. And the guitar gives me that ability. Because I've got no other outlet for it. I can't necessarily speak it. These things can do it better for me than I can talking. Got a bit of a frog in my throat now. That's good, isn't it? But yeah, an example of this. If you trust your song, and people are going, I don't know about that one, but you trust it, you have to fight for it. I had to do that on this album. We've got a song called The Dark of Me. This is a song I wrote in either 2019, 2020, I forget. And this song means a lot to me. It's really important to me. And the song itself is supposed to symbolise kind of an emotional roller coaster. It kind of symbolises anxiety, angst, and basically a mental breakdown, but getting through it. And the song actually follows that narrative of anxiety, depression, breakdown, building yourself back up. That's what that song is. And I was really adamant that I wanted to do the song. And every time we did it in rehearsal, pre-production for the album, John Joe and Queenie were like, I don't know. And the words kept getting bandied around like, no, this maybe it needs more time. And I was like, no, it doesn't. I could feel it, and it was kind of aggravating me because I was like, no, I know it doesn't need more time. I know once this is recorded, it's going to be great. It's going to be perfect. And the thing was, it's very simple: verse, chorus, middle, solo, end, done. And there isn't much room to kind of go crazy in it. But it's very closed. I mean, it doesn't give you a lot of freedom, this song, but it's not supposed to. It's again, the song is about feeling trapped in your head and kind of like, oh God, I can't deal with this. And that's what the song's about. So it's not supposed to make you feel like, oh, this is nice and airy. It's supposed to make you feel like this, and it's dark and heavy, and that's exactly what it's supposed to be. But it's also got a sadness to it. And again, I'll talk about all this when the album comes out. But again, no one was sure on it, but I was like, no, trust me, it's going to be good. Just trust me. Anyway, we actually scrapped it. But then we didn't, because I was like, no, we're doing it. And we recorded it in the studio and just heard it back through the speakers. And it gets me funny now thinking about it, actually. This album itself actually gets me quite funny to listen, and I'll talk about that in a sec. But as soon as I heard it back, I was like, no, it's perfect. And that's the thing. Everyone else questioned it. I knew it was right. So when it gets to that point, you've got to fight for it. And I fought for this song. We could have put another one in there, but I didn't want it. I wanted this one. And I fought for it. And it's one of my favourite songs on the album. I love it. And it says exactly what I want it to say, sounds how I want it to sound, and feels exactly how I want it to feel. So, and again, that comes down to that. It's great to bounce ideas off other people. But when they say no, but you say yes, you have to be ready to fight for it. And sometimes it might not work. But if you believe it, if you feel it so strong that you're like, no, I know this can be good, and I know it's going to be good, then it's worth the fight. Even if you lose, it's still worth the fight, So that's another thing. Don't be afraid of your songs that you write. You have to kind of just go with that fear of going, some people aren't going to like this one, but I'm really proud of it. You just have to go with that. You have to put that fear aside and just go for it. And that's the same thing with really kind of anything in life, really. You kind of have to just kind of go for things. You can't really... You have to be a bit risque sometimes. You have to just kind of go for things. And again, if you believe it and you feel it really, really deeply that you've got no, this is right, I've got to fight for this, then you fight for it. You know what I mean? If you're that passionate and confident about it, it'll work out. It really will. But like I say, and I'm really proud of that, and I'm really proud I fought that song's corner, because like I say, you listen to what these songs have to tell you. That one was telling me I need to be on this album. If you don't put me on this album, you'll forget about me. And that's one thing I kept saying at rehearsal and pre-production was, if we don't do this song, it'll never get heard. And that to me was just more than I can bear, because this song means so much to me. I was just like, nope, not having that. This is going to be on the album. And it is, and I'm so proud, and I'm so happy. And that's ace. And again, here's the thing. It gets me emotional thinking about this album because of the songs and how good they sound, and how proud I am to be part of this band with John, Joe and Queenie, and how proud I am to have you lot out there as fans of this album, and also to have you help make this album even possible in the first place. That when I listen to this album, I get really choked up. I'm getting choked up now. It really affects me on a very high emotional level, because it means the world to me what I do for a living. Playing guitar, writing music, and being able to express myself is everything I am. And that's all I want it to be. And you lot give me the ability to do that, and John Joe and Queenie give me the ability to do that. They go with these things, and I'm so grateful. I'm so proud of that, and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day: is are you proud of the music you write? Because if you are, no one, even if they turn around and say that's the shittest thing I've ever heard, doesn't matter. Bounces off you, because their opinion doesn't matter. If they don't like it, they don't like it. There's no point trying to convince them. They're always going to be there. But I love Oasis, but I've spoken to so many people who hate Noel Gallagher's songs. To me, I can't really imagine my life without them. They're such a big part of my life. Same as John Frusciante and the Chili Peppers. Jimi Hendrix, Rory Gallagher. These people have a huge part of my life. But there's a lot of people who don't like these things. And that's fine. Because it comes down to the fact of you do what you do. And you like what you like. And at the end of the day, if you're proud of something, then it doesn't matter what anybody else has to say about it. Because you've done it and you've stayed true to yourself, and that's all that matters. You know what I mean? Like I say, this song, Dark of Me, if I hadn't fought its corner, then something else would have taken its spot, and that song would have been lost. It would have gone. That would have been it. I know that for a fact because I could feel it. I knew that feeling of this song was just going to disappear. And I was like, no, I cannot let this song die. I have to have it on this album. Bar nothing. It has to happen. And that's what it comes down again, is like, do not be afraid of songwriting. Don't be afraid of your songs. If you're proud of them, that's all that matters. It really is all that matters. As long as you've written down something and go, you know what? That says exactly what I want it to say, and it sounds exactly the way I want it to sound, and it does everything I want it to do. It's perfect. Then it's perfect. I do believe that a lot of people get, again, like I said, just to reiterate, people get put off songwriting by being afraid of what people might say or people's reactions to it or what might happen to it, and if they put it online or show it to their friends and it gets flack. But the fact of the matter is, you're going to get flack regardless, especially in this day and age with the internet troll and people believing they can kind of say whatever they want without censorship, internal censorship. You're going to get it. But if you believe it and you love it and it means something to you, it doesn't matter. Because that's more powerful than any of these people. You can get a million trolls saying your song is the worst thing, your painting, your story, poem, whatever, is the worst thing I've ever seen. But if it means something to you, then it means something to you. And that's powerfuler than all of them put together. Because it's you. You've expressed it. And again, that's what songwriting should be, I think, And so that's really important. So another thing to do as well is, like I say, bounce song ideas off other people. But another thing to do as well, and this is something I've never done. I did it for this album because obviously I'm a singer, and I've never done this before. This was something new. Is I went through every single song before we went into the studio on this guitar, on an acoustic guitar. I think I wrote pretty much all of them on electric because I don't really write on acoustic. But some of them were, I didn't like the key and I couldn't figure out the tuning. Some of them were like, does this want to be in standard tuning or E flat? Does it want to be in this key or does it want to be in that key? And the electric guitar I love it, but I couldn't get it. I couldn't find the right keys for certain songs, The Dark of Me being one of them. Initially, The Dark of Me was in E flat minor, and it didn't work. And then we tried it in different key. And it wasn't until one day, this guitar is always sat around. I love this guitar. I mean, this guitar is on the album as well. Any acoustic guitars you hear, they're quite subtle, the acoustic guitars, but it is in there. It's this guitar, and this is my Mountain acoustic from 1974. So I was just sat downstairs in a bit despair mode, and I thought, let me try on this guitar. So I picked up this guitar and I just started playing it, And I was like, oh, that's easier to hear. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, it wants to be in this key. I get that now. So I ended up going through every song on the album, bar one, because it's a blues track and it doesn't really translate to an acoustic. Although it kind of could in a very cool way, but I don't know how to do that yet. I ended up going through every song, and this guitar told me what tuning, what key, and how to sing it properly. This guitar. I wrote all the songs on different guitars, but this one is the one that showed me the way, because the song was translating through this instrument way different to it was with an electric. And I was able to just kind of like get around on this one in a way, and I was like, oh, now it makes all sense. And it was just an absolute eye opener. So I am a firm believer now, and I've been told to do it for years, and I've never done it. I am a firm believer now of always go through your song on acoustic guitar, either after you've written it, or as you're writing it, or after you've recorded it, or as you're recording it, because it will show you the way. And it really did. And I've been doing it a lot, and it really is massively helpful. And like I say, I love this guitar so much. This one it's absolutely balmy. I love it to bits. But yeah, there's another thing. Always have an acoustic guitar in your arsenal to just strum on. Doesn't have to be the most amazingly expensive one. This isn't expensive. It's a vintage guitar. It's from 1974, but it's not an expensive guitar. I can't remember how much I bought this for now. I think it's like 150 quid or something like that. As long as you've got an acoustic guitar that plays nicely and just kind of has a nice sound, that's all that matters, because writing things on electric is cool, but to check it on an acoustic guitar really shows its, what's the word I'm looking for there? It's not flaws, that's not the right word. That's the word that came to my head, but it's not actually the right word. It really shows it for what it is. It really lays it bare. Let's put it that way. When you've got a really, you write a song on an electric guitar, you're like, God, that sounds amazing. Play it on an acoustic. Does it still translate? And that was one thing I really, really loved about this album, is that every song translated to an acoustic guitar. I say even the blues one, which doesn't really translate, if I move the key, it does, and it becomes quite a cool little blues track, especially a solo thing on acoustic. But I don't really know how to do that one yet, because there's a certain thing to it that I want to figure out, just because, and the song kind of wants me to do that. So that's, again, follow what the song wants. Anyway, but it stripped the song back to a point where I was like, where I could really hear what the song wanted even more. And I will be doing that again. And I'll be doing that for every song. I'm pretty sure I'll do that forever now. If I don't do it, I don't know. That'll probably mean I'm just like really, really positive. Who knows? But when I write a song on an electric guitar, I'm always going to cross-check it with an acoustic guitar. Most probably this one. And because as far as I'm concerned, this guitar is never going to leave me. But yeah, there you go. So that's that one. So coming to the last part of this video, what we'll talk about is a couple of tips as well now for songwriting. So and how I do it, so to say. So songwriting for me, what I do is I just start playing around on guitar. So I'll just start messing around. I don't know. We'll just figure something out. I'm in a dadgad at this point in time. Let's go back to standard. I'll say standard. I'm always in E flat. And all of a sudden I've got something going on there. Just because you got to submit to music. Don't fight it. Just turn the brain off. Let things flow out of you. And eventually it will come. And what I always do is I write the music first. So I'll work on that. I'll start thinking, right, okay, melody then, vocal melody. What can we fit over that? And then start humming it like. And it doesn't have to be in tune. That's another thing as well. You're feeling the song out. It's going to be sketchy from the get-go. Of course, it's not going to sound great straight off the bat. It doesn't work that way. But the more you go, trying to find notes, you see. You know, just finding these kind of ideas of where things go, and you can kind of hear, you know, it will hint of where it wants you to be. And it's got a certain feel to it, and that will help later on. So that's kind of like where I would go with it. And what my friend Ian calls it scatting. You just start making noises over what you're playing. So... yeah, and it's just, it sounds stupid in a way, but you can hear the forming there of a vocal melody. And you start to go, that's going to, yeah, you start to feel, oh, maybe that's going a bit too long, maybe cut that back. So kind of going... or go... you know, which one feels more right? To me, the longer one feels more right for what I'm playing here. I'm not conscious of key at this point in time, PeopleTube. I know it's in E minor, but I don't actually care, because that's going to change later on. So that's what I'm kind of doing. See, now something else has got beamed to me there, which was, this is cool. But the next part, where it goes from E, C to D, I quite like this C. But then it's kind of a jump to get to that D, and I'm being told to play this D, which is an F sharp over D major chord, so... all of a sudden it's different. You got a different note. So it can take your vocal melody in a different way. You can follow one of those notes, or you can play off that. You know, it'd be quite cool to sing the F sharp, no, F sharp note. You know what I mean? It's got a cool thing to it. Especially because, like, especially if, like, you know, if the guitar's playing this chord, the F sharp over a D major, but then the bass actually just plays a D note, because then you got this chord, and then if you even added in like a different note to sing over, you've got this chord then. You know, it's really, really cool. Kurt Cobain did this all the time. He would finish chords with his vocal melody. You know, Smells Like Teen Spirit has an add 9. You know, it's what is it? Yeah. What is he? And it ends on the to pretend. You know, and it's just before the hello. And again, all he's playing on guitar is that, but his vocal melody note ends on that. So you end up with this. It's just so eerie, but so amazing. And again, it's these little things that songwriters can teach us, like, you know, amazing people like Kirk can show you. But that's the way to do it. Is just start making noises. And then what I would do is, well, I would record the music first. Once I had the song idea of what it is, not every song needs a chorus, by the way. Not every song needs a middle eight. It depends on what the song wants. Some of the songs I write don't have choruses because the song didn't want a chorus. It didn't want this. It didn't want that. It wanted to be this. And again, open yourself up to it. Listen to the song. Don't listen to what your ego is saying about, like, you know, it needs to be this, it needs to have that, it needs to have this, it needs to have that. The song comes first. You don't. You come second. What you want is secondary at this point in time. So, the song comes first. Always. Music always comes first. And then vocal melody is important as well. With that, that comes first as well. So, after you've done that, after I've got like an idea of the thing, I would then try and record it by any means I can. You know, if you've got ability to record, cool. If you don't, record it on your phone. You know, everyone's got a phone to record things on, or get like a dictaphone or something. And I'd record it, and then I would layer the song. So I would get the song recorded, basically. You know, get the guitars done, like a quick drum track, a quick bass line. And then once the song's as kind of almost as complete as I can get it musically, I'll then come back to the vocal melody, which again I've already recorded, and I would start just listening to what I had scattered over the top of this progression. You know, to me it's like there's words in there. You know, what am I trying to say? I don't know where I am. I don't know where I'm going. You know, all of a sudden I've got words. Where did they come from? I don't know where I am. I don't know where I'm going. And hang on a minute. I've got a narrative. Who am I talking about? Am I talking about me? Am I talking about an antagonist? Am I talking about a protagonist? Am I talking about some situation that hasn't happened yet, or something that happened to me in life, or something that happened to something else? And then you just kind of go with that and just kind of keep on that track. The song will guide you. It really will. It'll help you through it. But yeah, I mean, you know, all of a sudden, again, just messing around, I've got more lines. I don't know who you are. I don't know if I'll find you. It's starting to build a story here. This song is starting to build a story. And this is how I would always recommend doing it. And again, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, doesn't really matter. Drums, bass, whatever you do. Just let the song evolve itself. Don't think. Thinking is the killer of creativity, in my opinion. If you think, you're done. Don't think. No mind. Turn that off and let it just go. I don't know where I am. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know who you are. I don't know if I'll find you. But I am. So I didn't know where that, I haven't worked on a chorus yet for this, so I'm just winging it. And again, went back to that initial thing of scatting, just to kind of like go, well, where can this go? You know, and again, all these, I hope this is making some kind of sense. I really hope it's making some kind of, I know it's a long video, but I really feel this is kind of important. I hope it makes some kind of sense. Anyway, but yeah, and once you're going through it and listening to the words and the narrative of the song will tell you, you know, what it wants to be about. And sometimes the song isn't for you. Sometimes the song is for somebody else. I've had this a lot, where I write a song, and I'm like, I don't really understand this one. And you kind of get a bit confused, and you get a bit frustrated, because you're like, well, what? What? Yeah, it's like, I'm confused. Especially if you've got something on your mind and you really want to purge that. That's not the way this works. But sometimes you'll find you'll write a song and then it'll get to the person it needs to get to, and it'll give them comfort or it'll help them. And that's the reason you wrote it. Because again, I always say this, musicians are just marionettes to music. They have control of the strings, no pun intended. They have control of us. They just manipulate us to do what music needs. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Sometimes it's for us. Sometimes it gives us the thing to purge ourselves. Sometimes it's not for us. Sometimes it's for other people. Sometimes it's for us and for other people. You know, it's just one of those things. It really is. And but again, don't question it. Go with it. You know, and another thing to note is, as a songwriter, at some point you will reach a point where there's no songs. You don't have anything. And that's fine. Embrace that. My friend Ian worded this and visualised this perfectly in the fact of, if you think of creativity as this is what's going on with creativity when you've got nothing. It's all still there, but there's nothing going on. At some point in your life, something will happen where it'll go vroom, and then you'll write 80 songs in a month, and then it'll start to do this, it'll start to go, and then it'll go back out here again and be like, ooh, and wait for the next time. That's what will happen. That's it. You can't be on it all the time. Everyone gets writer's block, and that's okay. You just have to go through it. It's one of those things where there's no cure for it. You just have to wait for that to come back in. And there's nothing you can do about that. And just embrace it for what it is. You know what I mean? Creativity in music, art, writing, whatever, cannot be rushed. It can't be. Also, another thing about creativity is you should be allowed to make garbage. Some songs you're going to write, you're going to listen back to it and go, what the hell is that? I've done that a million times with there's certain songs on my other YouTube channel where I'm like, that is awful. That is utterly, utterly awful. But it is what it is. You're allowed to write garbage. You know what I mean? Because, again, just because you don't like it, other people might love it. And again, it might not be for you. Those songs that I don't like, that I've written, aren't for me. And that's proven by the comment section. You lot. You know, some of these songs aren't for me. I write them because music beams them to me, because it needs me to do it at that point in time. It picked me to do it. And I did it. But it wasn't for me. It was for other people. And you have to embrace that. And you have to put, you know, basically for that one, you put your ego on hold and it's not all about you. And again, songwriting, you have to be a bit more, you have to be quite thick-skinned with songwriting, because you have to be aware that not everything you want can happen sometimes. You have to be open to things and don't be too precious with things. Because at the end of the day, songs will be what they want. But again, like I said earlier on, if you believe it to be strong enough, then you fight for it. Anyway, I think that's everything. Like I said, yeah, and again, yeah, coming back to that song we had earlier on, I was just kind of making up on the spot. Once you've kind of got, like, you know, the lyrics written down, sing it, get it done, demo it, you've got a new song. Either for you or for somebody else or for whatever. Take it to your friends, take it to your band, take it to wherever, and if it always try different things, and if it feels better with something different, go with it. And then also another thing is find key. For me, that might not work down the line. Once we get this song into a band situation, E flat minor might be the worst key in the world for it to be in. I might want to move it to G flat minor or G minor. Who knows? You know, who knows where it needs to actually be? But you'll find that out. And again, acoustic guitars can help with that. But yeah, anyway, there we go. I'm gonna stop talking now. I hope that's made some kind of sense. I hope it's kind of like, you know, helpful of some kind. But again, don't be afraid to write your own songs. Do it. Enjoy it. But turn this off and just let it flow. Flow is everything. Don't get het up on, oh, it needs this, it needs that, it needs the other. It doesn't have to be complicated. You know what I mean? You can take over the world with 2 chords. That's enough. That can say a million things, from furious anger to absolute heartbreaking emotion. It can say so many different things. It's like what Jerry Cantrell, I always think what Jerry Cantrell says about the Alice in Chains Nutshell song. Heaviest song they ever wrote, and it's an acoustic song. And he's not wrong. Those 4 chords. My God. No chorus. Just those 4 chords. That's all it does. 2 verses. Guitar break. Guitar break. Done. Man of the World. Fleetwood Mac. Peter Green's Man of the World. Verse. Verse. Middle. Guitar solo. Verse. Outro. Done. No chorus. Losing My Religion by R.E.M. No chorus. Although I kind of think it does have kind of a chorus. But you know what I mean? Like these things, you know, if your song doesn't have a chorus, don't write one if it doesn't want one. If it doesn't have a middle 8, don't write one. You know what I mean? You know, whatever it is, let it be what it'll be. Just submit, be open, let it breathe. Let it live its life the way it wants to be, if that makes any sense. Anyway, hope that did make sense. I'm going to get off. Thank you very much indeed for watching. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. It really helps us out no end. Album coming out very, very soon. First single coming out next month. I'll do an update vid when we know a bit more about dates and whatnot. But I want to talk about songwriting because it's really important. And I want to talk about, you know, how writing for, you know, this album is kind of thing. I'll do some more videos on it as well later on. But, you know, I just want to talk about songwriting because it's cool. I've never really done a video on songwriting, I don't think, so yeah, it's quite nice to do it. Anyway, thank you for watching. Links in the description box below to all our real socials. Go and follow us on all that stuff. Again, really helps us out. We really, really need the support. So if you do already, thank you very much. If you don't, please help us out. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed for watching. And yeah, see you again next Monday for another Red Giant video. Don't know what it's going to be, but we'll figure it out. So thank you very much indeed. See you later. Goodbye now. I didn't turn it off. Can't press the switch.